David Clarkson is a Maple Leaf. It's not the only thing I want to talk about in this video, but I wanted to open with something punchy, you know? I haven't made a Leafs Free Agent Frenzy video until now because I was busy and I'm like, well, they'll make another move in the next couple days, and then they didn't, so sorry. And I've also been caught up with the Steve Dangle podcast, which, by the way, is now on iTunes, and by the way, the #1 ranked sports podcast on iTunes in Canada. When I first found out this Sunday night, I was more shocked that Stone Cold Steve Austin was #2 and I was #1. What? Exactly, Stone Cold. Apple and iTunes took the training wheels off. You no longer have to subscribe manually and go through all these steps. Just search for Steve Dangle Podcast on iTunes, subscribe, and bam. And rate it because that helps the podcast. Stop self-promoting, you shill. Talk hockey. First, David Clarkson has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs for a 7-year contract worth money. Several monies. Clarkson's from Mimico, Ontario, like Dave Bolland. He's 29 years old and he's going to be making $5.25 million in a Leafs uniform for the next 7 seasons. And a lot of performance bonuses. Which is alright, nothing wrong with dangling a carrot if you do well. And here's the thing about this signing. I don't like the cap hit. I don't like the amount of years he signed for. But I like that David Clarkson is a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's a miserable bastard to play against. Big, tough, will fight. He gets in the goalie's face, which is something I think the Leafs need more of. JVR provided a bit of a presence, but you just gotta But $5.25 million for 7 years to a player with just one 30-goal season under his belt and a career high of 46 points. A reminder that Grabowski had a 29-goal season and Kuhlman had a 30-goal season. Continue. And I feel like I'm not supposed to like this contract because of the length of it and the amount of money he's getting paid, but I like the player, I like that he's a Leaf, so maybe this is just the new ever-evolving contract situation in the NHL. If you're a plug, you make no more than $2 million, probably under $1 million. If you have any sort of track record of success, it's a 30-team league. Someone will pay you and you will make over $4 million. In this case, over $5 million. So rather than gripe about this deal, I know you guys are sick of that, oh, the Bernier deal and Grabowski getting bought out. I am happy that Clarkson's a Maple Leaf, and I can't wait to see him play with guys like Bolland. Or what about a line with Lupul and Kadri? Are the Leafs going to be a great team? Are they going to be a better team than last year? I don't know, but they're going to be a bunch of miserable pricks to play against. I think I read you're allowed to punch the puck into the net under the new CBA. Also big news, the Leafs signed to a 5-year contract, $4.2 million per season, Tyler Bozak. Tyler Bozak, more like Tyler Flows back because he's back in the city for 5 years. Now, I'm sure you guys are pretty aware that I'm not the biggest fan of having Tyler Bozak as the #1 center on this team. And I know he plays a lot of minutes in a lot of different situations, but I'm not sure what he's done in this league to prove that he's worth $4.2 million for 5 seasons. However, and this may come as a surprise to you, I don't think this contract is that terrible. First of all, he was asking for 8 years. Now, that doesn't make this deal not terrible. It just, thank goodness they didn't sign that one. But 4.2 isn't a catastrophe of a cap hit. We know the money situation in the NHL is constantly changing. He's Phil Kessel's buddy, and unfortunately, that matters. I'm not too broken up about Bozak staying as a Leaf. In fact, I have said a few times I would gladly take Bozak back on the team as like a second or third line guy and maybe for $3 million, but first line 4.2. And again, for that kind of money, constantly evolving situation, if Nazem Kadri somewhere down the line becomes the Leafs' #1 guy, then you have a $4.2 million second line center, which isn't crazy. What irks me is I just think you could have given that spot to Grabowski, but whatever, that's in the past, I guess. And as a guy who supports the Leafs, I can't wait for Grabowski to come back next season on some other team, maybe even the Bruins, and light the Leafs up. I hope he has a 30-goal year. Now, a more minor deal before I get to the Leafs goaltending situation, the Leafs signed TJ Brennan, 1 year, $600 grand. I mean, really, 1 year, $600 grand. Low risk, decent reward, depth pickup for the Leafs, and I've heard him described as a slightly better Mike Koska. Well, the key word there is better, so let's see how he works out. Now, getting to Jonathan Bernier, also known as Jonathan Bernier. I can't say it properly. Signing him to $2.9 million for the next 2 seasons, which isn't crazy, but he hasn't played a game for the team and really hasn't played much in the last few years, so the Leafs must really believe in him. And you know I criticize that trade. Trust me, I hope I'm wrong, and trust me, I hope Bernier works out. But right now, he's making 2.9, while Reimer is making 1.8. Speaking of James Reimer, I am getting married mid-July 2014. I predict James Reimer will not be a Toronto Maple Leaf by the time I get married. Believe me, that breaks my heart. But unless he absolutely kills it, plays lights out, I think there's a plan in place for him to not be in Toronto anymore. I mean, they could get great return for him. They could rob some team blind that really needs goaltending. Maybe the Flyers mid-season, but yeah, I think he's gone, man. But that question will be answered this upcoming season, and a few more questions before I end this off. The Leafs still have Nazem Kadri, Leo Komarov, we already know he's gone, Joe Colborne, Carl Gunnarsson, Cody Franzen, Mark Frazier, Ryan O'Byrne, and Mike Koska to re-sign. Now, I've already heard that Koska is going to free agency. I don't know about O'Byrne, but Frazier, Franzen, Gunnarsson, Colborne, and Kadri are all restricted free agents. What the hell are these guys going to get paid, and how are they going to fit under the cap? The Leafs have about $10.3 million in cap space right now. My impression, Nonis is so not done with this team. And one final note, we're going to have to give him a proper goodbye at some point, but Clark MacArthur's an Ottawa Senator. And I can think of one person who's really happy about it. Who's that, Steve? Shut up! I gotta miss him. Imagine if Grabowski signs in Ottawa and there's a line of Bobby Ryan and Clark MacArthur. I can't. So there's what I think about what the Leafs have done so far. How do you rate their summer so far? And give me like a school grade A, B, C, D, whatever, and why. I'm going to give them a C- because I like that Clarkson is a Leaf. Don't like the contract. I like the Bolin move. Not a huge fan of the Bernier move. Hate the Grabowski buyout, and not totally satisfied with the Bozak signing. And just as importantly, how the hell are they going to re-sign guys like Kadri, Franzen, and so on? Because so on was an important part of the team last season. So let me know what you think, and please subscribe to the Steve Dangle podcast on iTunes, and then rate it 5 stars, and I love your life. But seriously though, look at some of the podcasts we're ahead of. It's insane. And we're just starting. And we're recording a new podcast tonight. That's a Monday night. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, guess what? New podcast is up. And if you're watching this Wednesday, yo, that podcast has been up, son. Download it. Subscribe. Okay, I'm running out of... Okay, bye.